everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Severine. I am an actor, I am a writer, I am a director. Apparently I'm a vlogger, and today I'm going to be showing you all how to sound exactly like me. Guys, I'm just joking, I'm from South London. How's everyone doing? You alright? Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here. I hope you are all doing as well as you can be in these mad times. No one is going to be pressuring us to do anything at all right now when we are surviving a pandemic, but that doesn't mean we can't use this time to work on ourselves, right? So many of you saw my self-tape masterclass. If you have come back to watch this video after having watched that one, thank you so much. Currently, when we are watching this, that is right now my most popular video. So thanks guys, y'all are the sweetest. In my self-tape video, a lot of you saw that I shared my self-tape audition for Hannah season 2 on Amazon Prime. In the show, I play a character called Helen who speaks with an American accent. When I released that video, the people hounded my DMs. I'm just kidding, there were like 2 of you that messaged me asking if I could do a video all about how I do my American accent for the show. Now, I am not an accent coach in any way, shape or form. However, what I did do, I actually messaged Hugh. Hugh was the accent and dialect coach who I worked very closely with for season 2. He helped me out with my American accent. He very kindly gave me a few tips and tricks which I would love to share with you all today. Hello guys, it is Seth from the future. I have left Hugh's details down below in the description bar, and I also reached out to a few more coaches because I think it's really important that I'm giving you guys a few more options so that if you do want to get private accent coaches, you can reach out to some of these individuals. So thank you so much to Chloe English, Cameron Bernard Jones and Rebecca Gorsnell for also giving me permission to share their details down below. If you would like to get in touch with them to arrange private sessions, you can reach out to them directly to discuss their rates and all of that jazz. I just think it's super important to have private lessons with an accent coach if you can, because they are able to specifically help you with what you need. So I hope that's helpful. Before we get going, America is a very big place. So for today's video and for ease, I'm going to be focusing on what a lot of casting breakdowns call the general American accent. I usually tend to reference this as the northern states of America. One more thing, throughout this video, I do often refer to the British English accent instead of saying a London or a estuary English accent, which is what I should have said. Obviously, Britain is a lot larger than London as well. If you have got an accent where you are from Hull or Liverpool or Yorkshire or Lancashire, you can absolutely still use this video and I think you will still find it helpful. But yeah, I just wanted to make it super clear. I do not mean to put every single accent in the UK into the one category of what mine sounds like, because that is just not the case. Get your notes out. I've got mine. Let's start with some actual techniques which Hugh and other accent coaches gave me. Start with the letter R. Okay, so the R's in American sounds are really rounded. They are much more rounded and pronounced than we use in the English R. In English, you can hear it just the way that I'm saying now. I will say car, not car. A few words that help me to find the R sound are start, fart, nurse, purse, square, care, near, clear, better, letter, mother, father, daughter, mark, arm, etc. What a lot of accent coaches suggest is writing those out and then repeating them over and over again. Another tip for the R sound is to go through your script and actually circle out all of the words which have a harder R sound in them. So for example, in episode 4 of Hannah, I said, maybe it's a foreign government agent. Let me get my pen. So in my script, I would have gone through and circled the words foreign government. Another one was, what if someone finds out we're out after curfew? So I would have circled we're after curfew. Back to English for a sec. So another tip which I found really helpful. There was a line I had to say in my self-tape, I wonder where they'll send them. When I added this into an American accent, I actually found it really hard to say. I wonder where they'll send them. So a tip that really helped me when I had a lot of R sounds that were very close together, slow down. Seriously, it helped me out loads. So instead of saying, I wonder where they'll send them, because that's really jumbled and not clear, I would say, I wonder where they'll send them. In the context of that scene, what was important was the location that I was talking about. So I decided to put the emphasis on the word where. So I said, I wonder where they'll send them. I chose to use where as my operative word in the sentence, given that that was the main focus of the sentence. So when you have got a lot of R sounds that are close together, slow down and maybe try using one word in that sentence as your operative word. There are certain R sounds which are changed in American speech depending on if they come before or after a vowel. When the letter R comes after a vowel sound in American English, it'll change the pronunciation of it to an sound, like an ER. So 2 examples of that are the word word. Instead of word, like we say in English, we say word, it becomes word, as if it was spelt W-E-R-D. And with the word world, we say world in British English, where it's a lot more open, a lot more dropped. In American English, it becomes world, world, as if it was spelt W-E-R-L-D, not W-O-R-L-D. Let's talk about extending vowel sounds. This happens quite a lot in American English. Instead of, what do you read, Sandy? Because that sounded way too British. Extending the EA in read helps it to sound a little bit more American. What do you read, Sandy? At first, I didn't understand what he meant by extend the E, so I exaggerated it. I did it super over the top. What do you read, Sandy? What do you read, Sandy? And then I was able to bring it back. What do you read, Sandy? Another example of this is in the line, last week you said you liked it. Now I just said that in a British, very pronounced British. I never usually say my T's like that, but I just said it in a very heightened British accent. I was initially saying the word last much closer to my British accent. So one thing that Hugh gave me the advice on was in words like last was to make the A sound a little bit more like the hat in British English. Last week you said you liked it instead of last week you said you liked it. By making the A in the word last more like the A sound in the word hat in British English, it automatically helped to elevate everything and make it sound more American. If you've got any questions as we're going through this, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below and I will do my best to reply and answer your question as best as I can. Let's talk about connected speech. This happens loads in American English. A T between an N and a vowel sound will actually get removed from the sentence. So for example, entering, not entering. I'm entering a room, not I'm entering a room. I'm entering a room can work, but I do find that when I get into the flow of speaking in my general American accent, I will leave out the T's. I will say sentence, not sentence, or I will say dentist, not dentist. The letter T often turns into a D when we are using American English. I will say better than, not better than. I will say, I read a letter, not I read a letter. Clatter, not clatter. The cake batter, not the cake batter, especially with double T's. This also works for some singular T sounds like the word Saturday. I will say Saturday, not Saturday. Another thing which I've noticed is that a T or a D in between 2 consonants also gets removed. For example, tallest person, not tallest person, tallest person. Or an old bike, not an old bike. Also an old dog, not an old dog. Last week you said you liked it. Last week you said you liked it. I didn't say last week, I said last week. To me, leaving it out sounds much more like somebody who speaks it on a day-to-day basis rather than somebody who has learnt to speak in an American accent. When we're speaking with our American accent, we want it to sound like it is something that comes very naturally to us, right? We don't want to sound like we are putting on an accent. In the same way you don't want to act the character, you want to be that person. Leading on from this, I do find that I will link sounds together when the last letter of the previous word is the same letter as the beginning of the next word. So for example, the words model life, I will link the L from model with the L from life and it will become model life. A similar thing will apply when I am going from a T to a D sound. So in the sentence, what do you read, Sandy? I will say, what do you read, Sandy? What do you read? What do you? What do? What do? It doesn't. I've noticed that the letter T will often get omitted before words that start with a consonant. So for example, left behind, or kept going. Kept going becomes kept going. If a word has got the letter N, then a T, then a vowel, sometimes it becomes a glottal stop. What do I mean by that? I mean it's more at the back of my throat and my tongue is doing a lot of the work. For example, the word fountain in British English becomes fountain in American English. I drank water from the fountain. Don't do that. That's probably really nasty. The same rule also applies for a word which has got a vowel, then a double T, and then another vowel. For example, button. Button. It's all at the back of my throat. I tied up the button on my coat. I tied up the button on my jacket.
Wait a damn minute.
Tied up the button? Wait, you don't tie buttons. You tie bows, you pop buttons. Alright, I popped the button on my trousers. No, you don't say trousers in American. Oh my god. I've forgotten everything that I know. I popped the button on my pants. There we go. I managed to say a sentence. This brings us really nicely onto our tongues. So, I choked.
Oh my fucking god, she fucking dead.
That brings me on nicely to my first point. Make sure you warm up. My warm-ups can take anywhere between 10 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. It really just depends on the job. One exercise which I love to do is called tongue boot camp. That is where you move your tongue around in circles. All the way around, just like that. I will do 8 circles one way, 8 circles the other way, 4 circles one way, 4 the other way, 2 one way, 2 the other way, and then I will do 8 in alternating circles just like that. It really, really hurts. Oh my god, it hurts so bad at first, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Let's talk about the versus the. The is for vowels, the is for consonants. That's like a rule which I tend to go by. I sat on the ottoman. I wouldn't say I sat on the ottoman. To me, that sounds really weird. I sat on the couch. I took a photo with the camera. Again, guys, all of these little tips, try to add them on in layers to a particular sentence that you're working on in your script. But now that we've got some technical points out of the way, let's have a look at some tips which have actually helped me. I did do a foundation course at drama school, but I haven't done 3 years at drama school. And even then, in the 6 months that I did spend at drama school, we didn't actually cover accents. It wasn't part of my course. So I didn't actually get official training about American accents until I started doing Hannah. I learned how to do it beforehand by following some of these tips. Number 1 is mimicking. I watch too much TV and I spend too much time on this damn website called YouTube, which I love. That's why I'm here. That's why I started my own channel, which you should subscribe to if you haven't already. Mimicking is such a huge help for me. A lot of the YouTubers which I follow are American. Listening to creators who are based in California and then repeating some of the phrases or words or intonations that they have might be something that you will find very useful. How to Get Away with Murder. That is a great example of a show which has got loads of American accents in there from all over various parts of the country. The second tip that I find very helpful is reading everything in an American accent, not just my lines. You should absolutely be reading everything anyway. You want to get an idea of the story, not just your lines. But when I'm trying to practice my American accent, I do find it very helpful to actually read everything else, the stage directions and the other characters' lines. The main thing that I get is I find that I am practicing the skill of an American accent and not just learning an American accent, because I'm applying it to words which will not belong to me. The third tip, which I find very helpful, is music. The kind of music that I will often reference for American accents is Broadway. I will listen to them in the American, mimic it in the American, and then just repeat the sentence without any music. So let's look at the song You Will Be Found from Dear Evan Hansen. Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? That said, in a very American accent, I will repeat the line without the music. Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Have you ever felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? The final thing, which I find really, really helpful, not just with American accent, but with any accent, is having key phrases. I've already mentioned loads all throughout this video, but if you would like some specific ones, I wonder where they'll send them. Sentence, I said that sentence out loud. Fountain, left behind. Those are a few sentences which can help me to quickly check in with my American accent if for whatever reason I'm not able to find it on the day or right before a take. I'm really nervous. Okay, those are, oh God, a few helpful tips. I hope you have found this video really useful. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share it around with any of your active friends. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Good night.